My hot take for today is that busy people don't need a wellness routine that demands more from them, but they need a wellness routine that feels like rest. There's nothing wrong with maintaining your health strategies. In fact, I'm a proponent to that. So if you are a busy person, an overachiever, a high functioning person, and you want to approach your health and wellness in a way that's true to you, so overachieving your health and wellness, that's all great. The problem comes when your health and wellness goals actually lead to burnout. You're drowning in this idea that health and wellness needs to look a certain way. So for you to live as healthily as you possibly can, you need to be doing things in a way that feels more like work and less restorative. What I need overachievers to remember is that you're a human being. It seems obvious, but no, really sit with that. Think about it. Part of being a human means having limitations and not feeling shame about the limitations that you have. You have 24 hours in a day. You may have a lot of responsibilities, but the effectiveness in which you perform these responsibilities relies on how well you are. In order for you to take on the tasks and to be present and to be efficient, that is only possible to the degree of how well you're doing. That's why wellness comes in. It's not necessarily about seeing your wellness as another thing to do, but it's more about how can your healthy habits feed into your obligations, feed into your passions, your job, your responsibilities. No matter how much you love your job, no matter how much you want to achieve academically, no matter how much it feels people needs you, because that's another thing. People may be relying on you and you feel you need to do all of these things. All of those things don't happen if you are not well. You need to be well in order to do well. If you are going to be in your profession for the long term, you need to be able to sustain your well-being and pouring into yourself. The point of this video is not to make you feel like you need to do less at work or you need to perform less. I'll be sharing 4 tips on how you can do less to gain more in your health and wellness. The first tip I'll be talking about is rest, because surprise, surprise, we need it. I've made a video on 7 different types of rest. The reason rest is one of the top priorities is because when it comes to the repair states that your body enters, when it comes to the anabolic or the like the healing states of your body, most of it happens in the rest and digest state or the parasympathetic state. The bare minimum for you might be sleeping. If your only ability, if you're so busy you can't do anything else, you will be sleeping at some point of the day. We all sleep. So your goal may be maximizing on your sleep. That might mean sleeping 1 hour more or working on your sleep hygiene so that you're able to sleep deeper or have a higher quality sleep. That's great for your brain. It's great for recovery. It is going to help you feed your productivity. So the next morning you are better able to overachieve. Rest can also mean scheduling your breaks. Once a day, maybe having 1 hour of a break. And that's something you need to plan. Like sit down and say, okay, throughout this day, I'm going to carve out this time for me to rest. Maybe your rest is your morning routine, where in the morning you have a slow morning, or your rest is a lunch break. So while you're eating your food, you are relaxing. Maybe your rest is an evening wind down. So having at least 1 hour a day for rest, you can extend that. How many days in a week can you dedicate to rest? And before you say you don't have the time, consider half a day, right? And rest can basically just mean doing what you enjoy. What do you like to do? And do you do it enough? Can you start? Can you schedule it in advance? Schedule it so that no one else can interrupt that. In fact, schedule it like it's a very important meeting, like the way you would plan a flight. You don't want to miss that flight. You don't want to miss a meeting with the president. Well, this is a meeting with yourself. So schedule it in. Try to commit yourself to that time. The little moments in which we rest can give us so much more benefit than trying to fill every waking moment with activities. It's your right. This feeds into tip number 2, which is to plan and prioritize. If you are a high functioning individual and you don't have a planner and you don't have a system of planning, it doesn't have to be a planner, but I guess there are special individuals who don't need these things. But for the most part, for most people, this is something I would recommend, because if you're able to plan your days, your weeks, your months, your years, if possible, that takes a load off from you. I've spoken to people who tell me that they don't want to plan because they don't want to lose their edge. Like they like being able to think and they want to store all of their memories in their mind. And I get it, but don't. The reason I say I don't get it is because they haven't tried. If you have not tried what it feels like to have a plan, it can be a to-do list, it can be a mind map, it can just some structure so that you're not constantly juggling mental points. That can be stressful in and of itself, because what if you forget? So your brain kind of has to work extra hard to keep your thoughts anchored, like the things you need to do, the priorities. But if you have a means to list out your plans, your to-do list, you would be able to kind of take a load off of your mind and give your mind the freedom to think about other things, because you have a secure way of listing things. This is not foolproof. You may forget. You may think that you jotted something down and you actually didn't. So when you look back at your planner, it's not listed. It's not foolproof, but it's worth a shot. If you're able to, I'd say give it a month where you write down your plans for the day. Bonus points if you can prioritize what's most relevant, because you'd be surprised how many things you think are urgent, urgent, urgent. You'll just have a whole list and everything is urgent, but you'll be able to see that actually not everything is urgent, and some things can wait till tomorrow, or some things can be delegated. Organizing your time can give you this layout where you can just see everything in front of you and realize that, in fact, you don't have a whole lot of things to do. It just feels like a lot because it's a lot to remember. But once it's listed, it feels less overwhelming and it feels so much more achievable. This brings us to point 3, which is doing less. Did you start panicking when I said that? I felt like you did. And I don't mean it in a way that's like just me being aloof about it, like, oh, I'll just do less. But you can be strategic with this. Doing less can mean once you have your to-do list down, right? You're looking at this to-do list and you're able to identify that there's some things that you insist on doing that you actually don't have to do. What are ways that you can reduce the workload for yourself? Are you able to share responsibilities? Have you asked? Oh, people asking for help. Asking for help. That's an option as well. And yes, because sometimes when I'm speaking, I can kind of hear a reaction, because I've had conversations like this before. You don't want to ask for help because it's better when you do it, right? People can disappoint you. All valid. All so valid. In fact, I understand this so viscerally myself. Like everything I'm talking about, I understand. It's like I'm talking to myself. But when you don't ask for help, you actually are not giving people the opportunity to prove themselves and to improve. So you might be surprised that someone can do something even better than you expected them to do, or even better than you could do yourself, but they just never had the opportunity to. Also not foolproof. You may do this. Someone may assist you in a way that is so dissatisfactory, but at least you can say you tried, and you can not use that as justifying means for you to not try again with someone else or at a different time. But please look at what is on your to-do list that can be delegated. Are they people you can hire to cover certain things that you would rather not do? Are there different ways to go about it? There may be more efficient ways to do tasks that you haven't given yourself enough time to think about. What are things on your to-do list that you actually might not have to do? Doing less can also mean doing less of the things that are counterproductive, because sometimes if you're busy, it can just be like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy, I have so many things to do, but we don't consider the things we're busy with that are actually holding us back. Can you snack less? Can you have less screen time? Can you complain less? There are certain habits that once we do less of these things, firstly, they open up time. So it turns out we're not that busy, or they increase our ability to focus. They increase our ability to just have a better quality of how we accomplish our tasks. Basically, take inventory. What are things in your life that, should you do less of these things, should you discard these things, the quality of life will just elevate. You have more time, you have more freedom, you have more relaxation. The final point within this doing less category is choosing under exertion instead of overexertion when the opportunity presents itself to you. So I'm not saying never overexert yourself. Overexerting yourself has its place. There are certain times when you need to lock in, get things done, sleep in late just to accomplish a task. That's how life is. There are certain times when you don't have the choice. You have to push yourself, even if you don't feel like it. That's one part of life. What I'm talking about is certain times when you have the opportunity to overexert yourself, to overextend your capacity, and you have the other option to not. Choose to not. Choose to rest. Okay, so an example of this would be, there are certain times when I want to do a workout in the morning. I tell myself, this is what's going to happen. I've planned this. I want to make this happen, right? That's my goal. But I maybe have a poor night's sleep. Like I woke up for some reason, I could not go back to sleep. I finally fall asleep and it feels like I close my eyes for 2 seconds and the alarm is ringing. It's time to wake up. But I'm super tired. But I said I was going to exercise. But I'm tired. But exercise, but tired. In such cases, I'm going to sleep. because, not because I'm throwing away the whole routine, but because we need to give ourselves grace to be human and to prioritize the repair state. Overexerting yourself, especially if I'm in my luteal phase, oh, it's not happening. If I'm in my luteal phase and this happens, I'm going to choose rest because the circumstances allow for this to happen. Tomorrow is another day. Hopefully I sleep well. Hopefully I sleep well. Now, am I advocating for you to just always skip your workouts because you don't feel like it? Definitely not. Practice discipline. Keep to your word. Commit to the things that you said you're going to commit to. But in some cases, there are exceptions where you've been super busy at work, you've been giving it your all, you've been pushing, and you get to a point where you can choose resting or push again. It's okay to choose rest every now and again because that is a part of doing less. Use your discernment in that. The final tip is to stick to the basics. I've noticed a trend in the wellness space, like any space, to be honest. Any industry, every industry starts to push a certain agenda or product or service, and that can make you want to do more and more because now there's so many more things to do. There are all these therapies that are popping up, there are all these products that are popping up that can make you feel like you need to do more and overachieve in your wellness, where in actual fact, for some people, especially the overachiever, what's most beneficial for you is to just stick to the basics. The 4 pillars of health, there's a video on that, but the 4 things that you need to do. Let's see how far along we can cover that. And once you feel comfortable with that, going further and deeper. Because some people are truly wellness enthusiasts. It's fun for them to explore different therapies, different things. What I'm trying to say is if you are an overachiever, you feel like you have 20 hours in a day, you don't ever feel like you have enough time for things, it's okay to just stick to the basics and the fundamentals of wellness instead of feeling this pressure to pile on these new habits, new trends. Within sticking to the basics, a bonus point is to juggle what you can when you can. There are certain times in your life when you are super busy that sleep gets a hit. so many times when that happens. Maybe you're pushing with your business, or you're pushing at a new job, or you are pushing to meet a deadline and sleep goes out the window. Maybe for you, that period of your life requires for you to kind of buckle down on your nutrition, on your exercise or your movement, on your stress management, because you've kind of lost control with sleep. Best case scenario is if you're able to keep that in your mind, that this is a 2 week project and I'm not going to be able to sleep for the next 2 weeks very well. As long as you have an end date where you're going to be able to get back on a good sleep routine. And the same is true for exercise. Maybe you come to a point in your career and you need to travel quite a lot, and you're traveling and it feels like there's never enough time to exercise. You might not be able to exercise as much as you want to, but are you able to have good quality sleep? Are you able to have healthy food? Are you able to have a good handle on your mind and your emotions? When is the nearest time that you can start exercising again? That can be a bit challenging for someone who wants to overachieve because you feel like your health routine needs to be perfect for it to be effective. It can still be effective if you're able to juggle things as needed. When you do not need to juggle anymore, you can get back to, maintaining all of the basics that we've discussed. It may also be worth it to see if you can do a more adjusted form of what you already do. So if you are someone who cycles 30 minutes 5 times a week and you're hit with a schedule change, you suddenly get super busy, maybe you adopt a different type of exercise. Adapt your routine according to your current needs. So if you're traveling and you can't go to your local gym, is there a gym in your hotel? Or if there's no gym in your hotel, is it a walking city? Are you able to walk? If not, are you able to do some exercises in your hotel, in the room? Follow along YouTube videos just to fit that in there. It does not have to be super long, but if that's an option, right? So option number one is put it on pause for a certain amount of time. So I put this habit on pause. I will get to it when I can. Please remember to get to it. That's part of why journaling and part of why keeping your wellness as a priority in your life can help you, so that when you do eventually have the time to get back to it, you know that you can get back to it and you don't forget. Pause for a moment certain wellness routines, or regress it. Make it a little bit easy for yourself, make it a little bit more achievable, realistic, sustainable. That is all I'd like to tell every overachiever that is struggling with their wellness routine. I am not going to be back in 2 weeks. I don't know when I'll be back, probably a month from now, because the next 1% weekly challenge will be a break. And so I will probably be taking a break from recording because I'm practicing what I preach. Um, but when I'm back, it will probably be in a month's time. So what's today's date? Okay, so it will probably be mid-August. But if I have the space and the time and the capacity to, I will be back with another video sooner than later. Take care.